Classic, delicious, tradition.
Hi, I just came out and had a Scotch oatmeal cookie and it melts in your mouth.
They're very much like Scotch oat cookies from Scotland. Very nice, really good.
It's just an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, they're wonderful people and the cookies are delicious. What else could you say? I mean, that's the way it is. It's really good.
Beginning in 1924, Benjamin T. Byrds Sr. started developing his company in Savannah, Georgia. Starting with small batches of the Scotch oatmeal cookie hand-packed in wooden crates, he would personally deliver them to local markets in his Model T Ford.
The first bakery was actually located on West Julian Street in the City Market area, just a few doors down where we're located today. At that point, he took the bakery actually behind his home over on Isle of Hope. So it was located right behind his house, and that's where the bakery stood for quite some time.
Looking back at when the Scotch oatmeal was first developed, I can't tell you why or how that was chosen. But what we can say is that immediately it was a success amongst the locals, amongst everybody who tried it.
Well, I know that was our very first cookie in 1924 that Benjamin Tillman Byrd started making that cookie, and Savannah fell in love with it.
Byrds gained in popularity not only locally but amongst the many visitors that passed through Savannah. It was B.T. Byrd Jr., later called Cookie Byrd, who gained the idea to pack the bite-sized cookies into tins so they would travel more efficiently.
I think it's a combination of flavors. It is the yummy oatmeal, the cinnamon, a little bit of coconut in there, and then raisin paste throughout the cookie dough. And those combinations are just create a magical cookie.
The Scotch oatmeal is as special as it is simply because it's a 90-year-old unaltered recipe.
I always lead off with, this is the locals' favorite. When they hear that, they want to try it. Once you open that lid and they smell the cookie, wow, everybody has a big smile on their face.
The cookie in 1924 is the same cookie that's baked today, and so we're doing something right. It's mixed in a horizontal mixer. Then all that dough is paddled into a dough trough, which is wheeled over to a hydraulic lift, taken up on the lift, and then slid down an I-beam to where it's on top of the depositor. Once we start the depositor and the rotors start turning, it compresses all this dough, which then go through die cups. Once the dough starts coming through a die cup, the frame has basically a wire on it. We call it a wire cutter, and that's what moves back and forth and actually cuts the cookies as they come through the die cups. Once they land onto the band, it goes through a 60-foot oven chamber. After it goes through the oven, it just goes through a series of cooling conveyor belts. With sugar cookies, it goes through a sugar tumbler, which is as simple as it sounds. It's a spinning machine that shakes sugar onto these cookies, then onto a sugar shaker, then through metal detector, another series of conveyors and elevators until it gets to the bagger machines. Now with oatmeal, when we're doing the large size oatmeal, once it comes through the oven chamber, it goes down the series of cooling belts until it reaches its last cooling belt, where we have usually 6 or 7 production employees. They are hand packing these into these brown bags, and we call them 5-ounce bags for large oatmeal.
After Cookie Byrd, the company stayed in the family for the 3rd generation with his daughter and son-in-law, Kay and Benny Curl. They developed new flavors and packaging, the most notable Key Lime, now the national bestseller. Byrd's famous cookies is still in the family, having the 4th generation as the current CEO, Stephanie Lindley, and the 5th generation, Jamie Lindley, as the head of the bakery. With Miss Lindley at the head of the company, Byrd's has been expanding in local markets with thoughts of international growth.
I've worked for small businesses in the past. I've never actually worked for a family-owned company before. It's especially one that spans 5 generations at this point, 90 years, and has a legacy that is really a part of the community that we're built in. For me, one of the best aspects of working at Byrd is that familial sort of tone and nature to the company, and how they treat all of us that work here for them.
On Wednesdays, Wednesday is the day we commonly bake oatmeal. When Stephanie, my stepmom, was coming home from work, I would always expect a checkered box, a 20-ounce box of the small Scotch oatmeal cookies. And so every Wednesday, if I heard her coming home from work, I was excited because I knew I was going to get some oatmeal cookies.
The thing that makes the Scotch oatmeal cookie so important and special to me is that it really kind of hits the notes of Savannah. It's tradition, it's history, it's legacy. Just like going to the St. Patrick's Day Parade is what you do every year here in Savannah. So is getting the rites of passage of being able to have your first Scotch oatmeal bag. It's knowing the smell of what this building smells like every Wednesday, whether the bakery was located on Norwood Avenue or Waters Avenue. I really feel like knowing and enjoying and being a part of eating a Scotch oatmeal cookie is being a Savannian.
My very first cookie when I was about 2 years old was the Scotch oatmeal cookie. I used it as a teething biscuit. So that was my first taste of Byrd. And then in middle school, I would sell that Scotch oatmeal cookie for fundraisers. And I would end up eating every single bag, and my mother would have to pay for the whole case.
I love when folks come into the store with out-of-town guests or their grandchildren and they say, oh, I used to sell Scotch oatmeal in the white bag and the cookies were 2 for a nickel. That's when you get the perspective of generations getting to enjoy the same thing. Something as simple as a cookie has a common thread. And as society gets faster and technology increases, you know, we're really doing the same thing. And that's what's enjoyed and that's the simplicity of it all. And it is the Scotch oatmeal cookie.